This is the moment everyone is talking about. A split second of contact that has the sports world buzzing, arguing, and picking a side. And an apparent head to head collision, a player's eyes swollen shut, and a storm of controversy that's about way more than just one play. The footage is intense, and honestly, it brings up some pretty tough questions. And we're going to break it down from what happened from every angle. And here the perspective of both sides looking at this whole thing as I break it down. But this isn't just about one single foul. We have to ask if this is part of a pattern. It's about the line between passion and poison in pro sports. A line that seems to get blurrier every single game. And more importantly, what's the WNBA's responsibility to protect its own players as the drama and rivalries keep escalating? And this isn't just a game anymore, it's a cultural flashpoint, and Angel Reese is right in the middle of it. And it happens in an instant. Angel Reese drives with the ball, all motion and aggression, and we'll get in the clip in a minute. The defender steps up, trying to cut her off. The contact, a sharp, undeniable collision. And it wasn't an elbow or a shove, it was a head to head impact that sent both players reeling. The whistle blows, but the real story is written on her opponent's face, and eye already swelling in a matter of seconds. And this didn't feel like just a hard foul. It felt like the boiling point after weeks of simmering tension, and the debate instantly exploded online. Was it a total accident from two players going hard, or was it a deliberate act from a player who was fully embraced the villain role? Because we know Angel Reese says she will take on the villain role no problem in her rookie year last year in the WNBA. So to really get the controversy, you have to see the play. I'm gonna mute the audio due to copyright purposes, but check it out. Angel Reese going up with the ball, trying to get the defender off of her, and she like headbutts her, right? So this is slow motion. So you see headbutt right there. Before she even got lost the ball and got the ball out of her hands and the play was dead, she headbutted her and basically was like, get off of me, like side swiping her back. So if you look at this thing, Reese has the ball out on the perimeter, sizing up her defender. The defender is low, right up in her space. As Reese makes her move to drive, she lowers her head and shoulder to protect the ball, and that's a pretty standard move. But at the exact same time, the defender lunges forward to poke the ball away, and their heads collide. But in real time, it's just pure chaos because the slow motion replay tells a more complicated story because from one angle, you see Angel Reese's head dip right into the defender's path, and it looks like a clear offensive foul. But then from another angle, though you see the defender leaning in, closing the gap, and maybe initiating the contact herself. And Reese's fans will argue this is a defensive foul, that the player got too close and paid the price. And her critics, and there are a lot of them, will point to this as another example of her aggression crossing the line. So even a broadcast commentary was split because you could hear the announcers trying to figure it out live. One called it an unfortunate accidental collision, a basketball play, a phrase Reese herself often used to describe her physical moments, and the other announcer seemed more skeptical, questioning why she led with her head and noting the severe injury. So officially, the refs called it a flagrant foul, and they decided the contact was unnecessary, and a review confirmed it. But that call has done absolutely nothing to settle the debate raging among fans because it was a play with just enough gray area for everyone to see exactly what they wanted to see. So on the court, the immediate aftermath was tense. Reese was holding her own head, clearly shaking with while her opponent was immediately taken care of by medical staff, and her eyes swelling by the second. Because if you look at her eye, man, this is crazy. It's like the size of a wasp. And she trying to this is Angel Reese trying to play it off, acting like she got a migraine or something because her opponent was actually, bent over from the impact. And you could see that she was holding on to her eye, but she trying to act like she sweating something off. She ain't look, you ain't even serious. Look. Ah, oh man, hit my head. Bro, that doesn't compare to the impact you did to this woman, Angel. Come on now. So when you look at it and you see clearly that the injured player described the shock of the impact, and while she was careful not to call it intentional, she made it clear it was outside the bounds of normal basketball. So meanwhile, Angel Reese has historically been defiant in these moments, and she has a well-known mentality, unapologetic, aggressive, and unwilling to admit her brand of basketball is anything other than pure competition. So you can't look at this incident in a vacuum because it's just the latest chapter in the explosive um Clark Reese rivalry, a dynamic that has arguably fueled the WNBA's incredible surge in popularity because it's a rivalry that started in college with taunts and trash talk that lit a national fire and it's followed them to the pros where every game between, the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky feels like a playoff game. And in nearly everyone, there had have been hard fouls, technicals, and confrontations. But in one game, Clark got a flagrant one for a hard foul on Reese, and another Reese's teammate Kennedy Carter hip checked Clark to the floor, and Reese was seen clapping on the bench, which only fueled the idea that she encouraged this stuff, Angel Reese. And this history is the lens everyone is watching through. And for her supporters, she's just matching the energy she's giving, supposedly. But for her critics, she's the league's main instigator. So this brings us to the biggest question. Where is the line between passion and poison? Every great athlete has that fire. Angel Reese has tons of it. Her fans love her for it. They see a strong, confident woman who refuses to be anyone but herself. The Bayou Barbie who plays with toughness and flair, and she plays with a chip on her shoulder. And in pro sports, that chip can be a rocket fuel. But when does that fuel start a fire you can't control? Her style of play is aggressive, and it's no secret she racks up her fair share of fouls, both technical and flagrant, and it's a documented pattern where intense emotion sometimes seems to override judgment. And it's where hard-nosed defense bleeds into unnecessary contact, where run-ins with officials and players have become a regular part of her game. And the argument that this is just basketball starts to wear thin because when the same player is always at the center of the storm, this also forces a deeper, more uncomfortable conversation, right? Because about race and gender, because you can't just ignore that Angel Reese, a black woman, is often called arrogant or classless for the same fire that gets white players praised for their competitiveness. And when Reese taunted Clark in the NCAA championship, it was a national scandal because when Clark does it, it's her fury spirit. And you can't ignore the disgusting racist and hateful comments Reese constantly faces online, something the league has had to address when it comes to fan conduct, which is out of Caitlin Clark's control. And I'm pretty sure and I believe that Caitlin Clark I seem to know because she's a pure basketball player. She doesn't care about the color of your skin. She just want to compete. But the context here is crucial because Angel Reese comes off and wants to play the race card and play victim all the time, bringing race and gender into this while also trying to be the one that is um tough and have this flair of a strong black woman type of narrative that she gives off as a strong black woman basketball player, right? But then maybe part of Reese's defiant attitude is a shield against criticism she know is often loaded with prejudice. Because, but acknowledging the bias doesn't excuse everything because the league has a duty to keep its players safe. So when plays lead to swollen eyes, when hard fouls become routine, and when rivalries feel less like a sport, more like genuine hatred, is where I'm getting to, and divisiveness, the league has to step in because we just want to see those purely compete and may the best win. It's not about making this bigger than what it is, about race, about gender, about you know, you have to in a fight. And Angel Reese always saying she been sexualized, but she is the main instigator who had basically made this narrative up for herself while she came into wanting to play the villain role and all this stuff that she spewed out her mouth that made things be taken away from the game. And every time we see Angel Reese and we talk about her, most of the conversations is away from the game because she has created that sentiment and what resonates with the people, which is drama. So, look, man, it seems to me that is the WNBA doing enough? And are the fines and flagrant fouls enough of a deterrent? Or do they need to take a harder line to prevent the serious injury everyone can see coming. The league is cashing in on the drama, but it's playing with fire, is my point. And it can't wait for a career altering injury to finally decide the line has been crossed. And this whole situation is a tangled mess of rivalry, personality, media spin, and social bias. And that's why I have to turn the question over to you. Where do you draw the line between a competitive fire and dirty play? Was this collision an accident or the result of aggression that's going unchecked? And what about the WNBA? Does the league need to do more to manage these rivalries and protect its players, or is this just what high level competition looks like? Let me know what you think in the comments. This is a conversation the entire sports world needs to be having because at the end of the day, there are no easy answers. Angel Reese is a phenomenal talent, a champion, a player who has brought so many new fans to women's basketball. She's also a player who walks a razor's edge between intensity and recklessness. And you can see her as a warrior fighting not just her opponents, but also a system that she had created against herself with the narrative and the things that she spewed out of ignorance. And now that the same thing is, you don't want to take accountability to basically embrace the very things you put out there because what you put out into the universe is what comes back to you, Angel Reese. So now nobody's quick to judge you, but if anything, you're quick to judge others. And now when constructive criticism comes to you, you want to say that it's a biased system that's quick to judge you. So, and do you see Angel Reese as a liability whose emotions put other players at risk? The truth is, she might be all of these things at once. She's a mirror reflecting both the thrill and passion of sports and some of the ugliest prejudices or divisiveness in our society since she's displayed herself like that, connecting it to the drama and constantly being dramatic instead of being a basketball player, which we know her for, and we just want to see her play ball and be phenomenal and wish her much success. You know, the only thing we know for sure is that every time she steps on the court, we're all watching to see what side of the line she and the league will land on next. And she tends to lead to drama, and this league tends to lead to drama, which is very destructive and very self-inflicting for the league as a franchise, but also self-inflicted to Angel Reese when it comes to her growth and also being able to resonate with her as a player, as a player, resonate with her as a player with all the negativity connected to her when it comes to the drama and so forth and the things that she have said. And the internet is forever, and we can't forget it because she said it in front of the cameras, loud and proud and arrogant. And her pride got in her way and is still in her way. But on that note, family, let me know what you guys think. On that note, family, love you guys. Peace.